All right, another day out here at the park in the beautiful Shanghai. We're enjoying the last bit of winter here. You can still get some sun. We've got some strong sun. It's going to be fading behind those trees while we film this, so it might start to get chilly. Actually, very soon, maybe in the next 5 minutes. But nonetheless, we're here to talk about
Spontaneity.
spontaneity
Yeah, spontaneity.
in the context of being abroad and just taking advantage of whatever opportunities come about. Yes.
I would say it's more about how to make sure you can have like a full cultural immersion whenever you are.
Okay. Cool. Tell us a little more about that.
Well, actually, I would actually ask you some of the questions, so probably take the lead. But yeah, I'm pretty sure you're very good at giving us some funny insights and.
Well, the let's talk about why we chose to do this today.
Sure.
So last night we were in the car, we were on the way to a meeting, and Hoei gets a phone call, and as she's on the phone, I hear that there was a miscommunication about the time of meeting, and the person we were meeting thought it was a different day, and we thought it was this day. And so as soon as I heard that, I was like, okay, well, let's just figure out what we're gonna do next. And I'm on the left, I'm in the back seat on the left, you're on the right, and I'm looking at you on the phone, and through the window, I see a church. And they were starting to welcome people. There were people waiting outside and people walking in. I go, oh, that must be an event of a sort, not necessarily a mass. I thought it was a mass initially. And so I was like, as soon as I heard that you were, it's this not going to happen tonight, I'm like, I told the guy, pull the car over. And so you hang up, and I'm like, let's just walk into this mass. And it ended up being a Bible study. It wasn't an official mass, but it was a Catholic church in Shanghai welcoming people. And the thought that went through my head was, well, we're already out. It's starting to get cold. We already put on all our coats. And if instead of just turning the car around and going back, let's actually make the most of the fact that we're already outside. And it was a cool experience.
Yeah, I would say it's a very actually it's a great way to spend your normal Friday night, I would say, because even for me, living in, because it's definitely one of the most famous church in my neighborhood, but I don't think I would feel like, oh, I might just hop in.
Well, for context, neither of us have a designated religion whatsoever, so this wasn't a form of something we normally do, and oh, let's go to the Friday night mass instead of the Sunday morning one just because we're here. It was this is something we never would be okay, this night we're going to go to this at this time. It was just the fact that the opportunity arose, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what sparked the idea of having this conversation on camera the following morning, because this past year I have not been bouncing around as much as I used to, but that's a prime example of the stuff that I used to do when I was just alone in a random city and I saw something going on and I would just join. And yeah, that experience last night kind of had me reminisce on some of those and the fact that I don't really do that much anymore, but we thought this could be a helpful thing to introduce to you all as well, because I think it's a perfect way to get involved within the community and also just to see things through a lens in which you normally wouldn't, to events that are catered towards foreigners in particular.
Yeah, I think it's a good. It's actually our own experience how to help our audience know more about what. It's actually the things we would like to talk about probably in the following part about what are the benefits will spontaneity will bring us, especially
Sure.
when you are exploring local culture and don't know what can you just do further step. So we probably can leave that for the following for the following session. But first, maybe we can start with still probably just small definition about spontaneity. I would love to hear more from you.
Well, I mean, for example, what we did last night was in an event context, right? And not an event as in a big concert or a big whatever, but just something going on. A group was doing an activity and it is open to the public and anyone can join.
Yeah.
Particularly, as we learned last night, the Catholics in China are super welcoming.
Yeah.
So that's a pro tip right there. If you're looking for something, you can go do that. But I mean, so there's these events, but it's also in the, like, because of technology, like, everyone's behavior has come to, let's go grab something to eat. Let's look something up on whatever map app you are using, and we can look at the reviews, and then we put it in a 10-minute walk. Okay, we go here. Or you just put your phone in your pocket and you walk around. You say, oh, that place looks good. Or, oh, there's a lot of people there. Maybe that's good. And you just walk in there and just have a experience that is not planned out whatsoever. You just go with the flow. And again, this past year I've been very much more rigid in schedule and getting things done, and not really setting aside time for that sort of exploration. And again, I think we just had such an enjoyable experience last night. It was just such a different thing to see, that is why we wanted to bring this up and talk about some of the benefits you might get from just this type of setting aside time for this type of just wandering, honestly, right? In whatever new culture, country, city, unfamiliar situation you might find yourself in.
Great. And also, like, I feel like it's actually, you explained it pretty well about, like...
Pretty well.
Yeah, and about spontaneity. I would say, yeah, because actually it's more about how do you like comprehend this concept in certain contexts. Obviously, we're talking about spontaneity in this specific context,
right.
Especially when you want, like you said earlier, it's more about, it's all under the context of exploring the local culture, especially in the place probably you know nothing about that. And also, like, I sense that the word, like, unplanned, like, popped up, like, pretty often in your earlier conversation. So maybe we can just go something deeper with that, because I feel like it's also the first step for people who actually want to accept the idea, or I would say the mindset of just embrace spontaneity, which may equals, like, you have to first to like, I'm not saying you should love the unplanned stuff, because I would say no one loves unplanned schedule or whatever stuff, because it's sometimes
some people do.
Yeah, but
I wouldn't advise it, but some people do.
But yeah, I mean, some people were more saying it's like a shock more than a surprise. I was told something from my mom. So things, I would say, yeah, generally in the most cases, it's actually a human nature. We will be a little bit, like, intimidated or a little bit, like, frantic about the unexpected things,
right.
Unplanned stuff. So, but also, like, if we really want to apply spontaneity, the things well into the cultural exploration, the first step, I like you said, probably it will be to understand the value, and also, like, their probably it will be like there's some like small bonus behind the unplanned schedule. So what would you suggest for people to actually step out the first step?
Well, again, this is something that's a common theme, but this idea of openness to experience. First, you just have to be open to it.
Like, always say yes to their...
Not always say yes. There's definitely things you should say no to. But, I don't know, as you were just speaking, I was thinking back to a couple years ago when I was doing more, like, proper traveling, not living somewhere. Particularly, this was northern Vietnam and northern Thailand. The way I handled that trip was I really didn't have any plan of where I wanted to go. I would just go to a city or town and then see from there where could I go, right? Because a lot of this information is not available online and you can't plan this trip whatsoever. And also, you're going to receive recommendations from people in the places you're at. So I was in Hanoi and went to Sapa. I had planned to go to Sapa because Sapa has become one of the places that is open to travel in northern Vietnam. And from there, they were like, you should go to Ha Giang, which is another place where there's this motorcycle loop and people go there for there, but they were just they gave me recommendations of, you should go see these people in this place. Or when I was in northern Thailand, I was in this village on the border of Myanmar and Thailand. And it was a Chinese-speaking village for a history we don't need to go into. And I had only found that place because I had gone from Chiang Mai to Pai, and when I was in Pai, a tourist place, I found, you can just take a bus to go to this next town over. So I was like, I'm going to go there and just see what's going on. And then when I was there, I heard about this place. And so I decided to go there. And then when I was there, they said, there's this other place on the other side of northern Thailand, you should go there as well. That's obviously very extreme, like super extreme. I was just alone wandering in rural Southeast Asia. But you can also take that in, how are we going to do this? Do you think that's coming through? I hope that's not coming through too strong. What is that exactly? Can we address what that is quickly first? That sound?
Yeah, probably it's I don't know how to say that in English, but in Mandarin we call it like 空竹. So it literally translate would be like hollow bamboo stuff, but I feel like it's more like something you just control with these two, like how the stick and strings.
Yeah.
To make sure if you can just keep the stuff like just rolling in the air.
All right. Well,
Yeah.
long story short, there's an uncle doing that in the background, and it makes this extremely loud noise, but that's fine. All right. Obviously, this wandering around northern Thailand, northern Vietnam on your own, and just taking a bus to wherever you find that buses go, that's obviously much more extreme. But what I was saying earlier about this idea of like, just put your phone away. You don't need to plan stuff out and just walk around, and wherever the wind takes you, go for it. If you find yourself intrigued into going into a particular building or establishment, just go. If you find an event, go check out what's going on. Like, this is more of like active observation, right? Instead of, I'm sitting at this place anyways and having a meal and waiting, like, I'm just going to look around and see what people are doing. It's more so setting aside this time of, let me just go wander around. The best way to learn a city is to just get lost.
Get lost.
Really. Like, the best way is you just walk around and you just kind of take it all in, put your phone away, don't worry about the map. You're going to be able to find your way back. And in an emergency that you have your phone in your pocket, right? But try to just set aside a few hours and just walk around and take it all in. And again, wherever the wind takes you, go with it. Wherever your interests are, whatever intrigues you, just go check it out.
And also, like, I feel like there is also something maybe can like help, like support why just like you said, like the most important way of like help you just explore deeper, like local cultures is through like getting lost and more specifically like wandering. Because I don't know which reports say that, but I feel like so there is some like research show that if you want to really like deepen your connection to certain kind of places, actually the best way will be you can't just follow like their already curated way or some like routes for you, because otherwise your brain didn't process how to make a new route for yourself, which you actually didn't actually make the connection to the local places. So while you actually, like you said, you're wandering and you get lost, actually it's a good way to activate your mind and to push it.
It's a great way to activate and push your mind.
To push yourself.
For sure.
To make the new route for yourself. Even if you feel a little bit like uncertain for that, or you feel like a little bit stressed for that, which you should consider it as, I would say, like it's a way to like to just deepen your connection to a local place. You would, and also probably you also might feel like a little bit stressed or feel like it's just such a like disaster when you do it the first time, right?
I mean, I can't, to be honest, I can't remember the first time that I employed this tactic. I've definitely put myself in lots of situations where it could have been a disaster. And honestly, looking back, I'm probably pretty lucky to still be alive and that no one decided to take advantage of the curious foreigner wandering in lands in which he could have disappeared. But I will say probably some of the best experiences I've had were just from saying yes to opportunities that arise that I never, ever could have imagined popped up. Like this summer when I was in Sarawak, and so I've not edited it yet. It is filmed. It'll be coming out soon, so it might not. these videos might not be out, but all of these videos, like, one, Sarawak is a place where when you're in KL and asking Malaysians, like, they don't know much about it. When you're on the internet, there's not much about Sarawak, right? There isn't a lot of detailed information. So I didn't really have an idea of what to expect in these places, and I couldn't really plan, which turned out to be great, because what I think are some of the best videos and the best experiences that I just had personally, regardless of it being a video or not, were these experiences that I couldn't plan out. Like, I was sitting in like one of those.
Can plan out.
I was sitting in this coffee shop, and a couple sits down next to me, who are of this ethnicity, the Birayu, which is why I went to this place. But everything was really shut down in the town. There wasn't much going on. And they basically like offered me to just come along with them for the day. And we went to their villages an hour from this town I was. And we met their family. And we went to this funeral of one of their family members that was in the village. They were having a prayer offering because they're this Christian family in rural Sarawak. Like, stuff I never would ever have planned out or imagined could be possible. All from just saying yes and being spontaneous and being open to do things that I did not plan ahead of time. I really think, and especially when you are in a new city, in a new country, in a new culture in which you don't understand how things work whatsoever, like, you don't even have the data, you don't even have the knowledge or the past experience to understand like what you could get up to. So that's why I think there's a joke with a lot of friends, is like, especially in Asia, especially in this part of the world, like, if you just walk around in a major Asian city for a few hours, like, there's zero chance that nothing weird is gonna like come up while you're walking around. Like, there's just always some oddity that'll come about. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'm probably a little different than most people and being cool with the idea of wandering around and exploring some oddity, but I really do think some of my favorite experiences I've ever had and some of the coolest things I've ever learned were just from things that I never would have been able to plan in the beginning.
Well, but I feel like we definitely can learn a lot, because while I was listening to all of the interesting experience you shared before, I was thinking, oh, actually it totally makes sense, because think about like a lot of, because I would definitely like went on those like, like super, I would say like it's actually very great, like the culture, like kind of the cultural program, like just take you somewhere to like, the goal is try to make sure you just really hang out with, they did arrange like local students or like young people at your age, and we hang out together maybe for a couple of days. They did take us to some like kind of the local places, which is pretty nice. But still, I feel like but actually there's one thing I will remember most, probably like you said, it's the one day like we just generally got lost, and we just on the way finding like just get some food, and we just got lost by
Right,
accident.
but that probably ended up being one of the more memorable experiences.
Exactly. So, because I was thinking, whenever I call like one of my cultural programs, I was thinking it's so like surprising that actually I could hardly remember those. I barely those days actually were pretty nice. It's everything's scheduled, and all the places are pretty nice. I would say pretty nice. They are like one of the most like pretty, whether it's academic one or historic one, but. That's strange. Actually, all I can remember most probably is the last day in the city alley, where we're just so hungry and so anxious on the food hunt. It's pretty strange, but also I feel like also I was thinking, because while let's say while you get lost, you're wandering in whatever the place is. Actually, will push you to like to start to just focus on a lot of, I would say, the oddity or a lot of the details, which normally if you go on like the schedule one, which you're on that pace, so the pace are different,
Right.
And it's I feel like it is the different pace, especially if you are on like if you're wandering or you start getting lost, the pace will start to get slower, and it will enable to like get you like get into a fully new perspective. So actually, in that case, I cannot understand why that lost experience will actually like be like one of my most unforgettable memories.
Well, I think you're leading us into another thing where I think someone listening, especially to the point where I was like, well, I'm lucky to have not been kidnapped because I've trusted people with my life so much. Like, hey, like, couldn't things go wrong? You know, like, couldn't there be some sort of uncomfortableness, or, you know, couldn't you get yourself into some trouble, or couldn't you, like,
Yeah.
yeah, 100%, for sure.
Yeah, you
But,
keep alert.
but, like what you just said with your experience of having to go get food on your own, and I mean, this is coming from like my university training. A lot of it was field work, and this idea of where I was dropped my first day in a program on the other side of the world. They just drop you off in the middle of nowhere, take your phone, and give you enough money to get a local bus ticket, and they're just like, find your way home. Like that was part of our orientation. Like that is part of the training. And so it's this idea that if you can start to resolve this issue, and you can just resolve issue after issue, and they'll slowly start to get bigger, you build up this confidence that, well, whatever situation I find myself in, like, I'll be fine. It'll be cool. And that's a super important thing to develop when you are abroad, because I think before leaving your country or your hometown, or just this, you know, at the end of the day, this like safe bubble that you've grown up in where you know how everything works, and now you're entering a context in where you might not speak the language of these people or understand how they operate or anything like that. Just your ability to be able to get food, like something so basic or simple, like you're worried about that. But once you just stack up these experiences, once you stack up the experiences, you'll start to build up the level of confidence to where, well, whatever situation that arises, like, I know I can work my way out of it. And I think that's a super important skill to have, and it just makes life in general, but particularly when we add this cultural lens to it, life abroad, so much less intimidating or draining or of a headache. Because, you're still going to have headaches, but the idea is you're going to be able to work your way out of them. And I think that's why I think this idea of spontaneity is good, because, yeah, you might have an awesome, joyful, great experience, but like you also might get yourself into a situation you got to work yourself out of. And that's cool too, because either way you're going to win.
Wow. I guess it's now you can definitely see like the like how I would say the hidden bonus behind you are trying to apply spontaneity.
You win either way.
Yeah, you will win either way. Even if you get lost, great. You know how to resolve certain
Adversity.
questions.
Adversity is super important. Adversity, right? The ability to work through tough situations is super critical, especially if you are moving somewhere without like support infrastructure in place in that local. If you're just straight up on your own, you just booked a flight, and you just like you picked a place and you got an Airbnb and you're just there, like adversity is going to be super, super important, because there isn't anyone there to solve your problems for you. You got to do it all yourself. And again, I think just saying yes and wandering around and finding oddity and getting involved, and I don't know, I think we keep saying like a lot of this stuff, unfortunately, there just isn't really a shortcut, and you have to live through the experiences, and you have to put in the hours, and putting in the hours is also stacking up your tally of how many uncomfortable situations you get into and then get yourself out of. And by doing it over and over again, that's where you're going to develop the confidence, and from that confidence means you're just going to worry less. And isn't that what we all want? Don't we just want to worry less? Yeah?
I agree. And also I feel like the other thing that's also like came up in my mind would be like, actually the other thing, like I feel like I don't know if you have the same thing. So it's one of the things why a lot of people who already accept the idea of a lot of like spontaneity, actually, and I feel like they may found like during this kind of like during this kind of like the cultural exploration things, when you get lost wandering, actually it would enable you to like have like a more authentic.
Well, yeah, I think
Experience.
by the nature of what you're doing, right? You are trying to find situations in which a foreigner wouldn't find themselves in, right? So like if you are in the beginning stages of this and walking around and, you know, you used to normally only go into restaurants that would have English on the menu, or there would be pictures and you could just point to it and you're comfortable with that. Like walk into a restaurant where the menu is only in local language, so there are no pictures, and just figure it out. Like just figure out a way to communicate. Because one, I promise you can. It's not that hard. It's really not that hard.
Oh.
But in your head before you do it, it's very difficult and it's very intimidating. But just try it once. And I think in this age of modernity, a lot of people just don't like discomfort, right? They're averse to discomfort. And when there is no discomfort, you become kind of soft, right? And anything that seems inconvenient or uncomfortable to you, you just push off. And so I think, you know, something like that, walking into this restaurant where there is, you don't think there's a way you can communicate what you want, that's a good way to purposely put yourself through that situation. Not for the intrinsic enjoyment in the moment, because it will be uncomfortable, but when you leave and when you're on the way home that evening and you take a shower and get into bed and think about your day, you know, it's like, oh, well, I did that. And like, I'm pretty proud of myself for that. And that's where you start to stack it up, and you stack up the proof that you just keep putting yourself through these situations. So you are someone who can live in discomfort.
Even if they might experience some awkward moments, or like.
Yeah, but that's the whole point, honestly.
Yeah.
You know, I think like our time at the church last night like almost went too well. It was like too good. Like people were too nice and too welcoming.
Yeah.
Right? There wasn't much discomfort.
Yeah.
So luckily we got lucky last night that we had actually, it was an enjoyable experience in the moment. It wasn't necessarily an uncomfortable thing. But we've had our fair share of uncomfortable moments as well, you know, and I think we've enjoyed and learned from those too.
I was suddenly remind me like I was throwing up on the sea.
You were throwing up on when we were octopus fishing.
On the hunt of the octopus.
We were hunting for octopus, and you just started throwing up. Yeah,
but the
that
thing
did happen.
is super weird. I mean, actually, when I recall this I was for me, I would be like, oh, it's super awkward moment for me for sure. But now I feel like it's pretty warm. Like actually, it's pretty nice. I would say, oh, now I can have something to share with my friend. Yes, I did throw up on the hunt for octopus on the sea. Can you imagine that? Actually, it's right now. It becomes something I will feel my proud of myself. I mean, whatever it come up, I still like conquered this uncomfortableness or awkwardness. I still like able to did it.
Right.
And we still had a great memory of that.
It was a great memory.
Yeah, and if I just quit at the first time, probably it just I would say I won't lose anything, but still I didn't get anything from that. And also, like, actually, right now, you already bring up a lot of the great words for us to, like, and also, like, I would say some, like, strategy probably about like, you have to, like, see, like, a spontaneity will be, like, actually a great chance to, like, help you just to stack up your skills, especially when you encounter, especially when you mentioned about the adversity, right? So it's a great way for you to like actually grow the skills, which very important for your further cultural explorations. And also I feel like the ability to embrace their, also you mentioned about the ability to embrace their, I would say that the discomfortness.
Yeah, I think that's even more important. So when you were saying like building up your skills, I thought what you were leaning towards was building up like, it's about building up proof to yourself, right? Where you can think of these lists of just awkward situations and uncomfortable situations and possibly risky situations that you worked yourself out of. I think when you have that and you have that stack and you can look back and those are the things I've done and that's who I am, then when you look forward and think about any of the things that may arise, whatever, like I'll figure it out. It's like, I don't know, right? And I feel, you know, lucky that, again, I am not somewhere in the jungles of a random place where someone decided to take advantage of the Wanderer Foreigner, where I've built up these experiences, and I truly feel that you could drop me anywhere in the world, and like I'm good. Like I'll figure it out. It doesn't make me nervous. Like, of course, like there will still be uncomfortable situations, but I don't think about it like that because I've kind of gotten used to the uncomfortable situations and unfamiliar situations where that is kind of the norm. And yeah, I honestly chalk that up as a superpower that I feel I have, and I'm very proud of. But it was developed through the trials and tribulations of just regularly, purposefully putting myself in absolute oddity and unfamiliar and weirdness. And if you don't go through that, you're not going to be able to build that up. So I think going through it and feeling uncomfortable is just, it's kind of part of the game, and you got to do it.
And also, so it's also like okay that like you really feel like you're stuck at the first stage. You feel like
you
you were
stuck, or you suck. Do you feel stuck, or you feel that you suck?
both.
Yeah,
At the first stage.
Right. Yes.
Probably because the thing is, I mean, so I don't know if you would feel like at this moment, but the first time when I was thrown into like, I feel like just like super like, I would say something I would always say it's nothing under control. I feel like I'm so stupid.
Yeah.
I feel like stuck and literally just like don't want to go anywhere. I just don't know what to do next. And I feel like, oh God, I never know that I'm such like a weak and stupid and such a person with such a great ego, and now I feel like I just lose a lot of confidence in myself.
Right.
So actually, but it's also like a super normal stage. Like everyone might. Like,
Yeah, I mean, when I think about before I even started any sort of living abroad situation. Yeah, and again, if I'm walking around and I see the kids studying abroad who are going out to the clubs and only interacting with themselves because they like that comfort, like, my first reaction is like, come on. But I'm also like, I did that. I spent a year doing that. Like, you have to get it out of your system before you perhaps start to seek more in your experience of living abroad.
But
and it's fine. It's cool.
Club.
Do it. Like, get it out of your system. It's good.
Sorry, still on the club. Also, mine. Well, now like, if I mean, they can still go to a club, but not that kind of club. Probably like when they're switched to a mind to like explore the oddity, they're welcome to like explore those special clubs, I would say.
Are you trying to plug? Are you trying to make a call to action? What club are you talking? Are you talking about? Are you talking about the Chameleon Club? Because even if you weren't, and your face is telling me that isn't where you were leading us, I think that's where you should lead us, and you can hit us with a call to action.
Yeah, because I would say that would be go too extreme. Like say, oh, if some people just go to the clubs and now they probably just do their own.
You're losing them. Hit it. Call to action, Hoey.
Yeah, I would say if you were it's just if you really want to make your first step and also trying to find somewhere where it's like you can not only get like a information hub or just find more connections from all just want to find the same voice from the people who have the same mindset. You can join the Chameleon Club.
Link in description.
Yeah, link in the description. And you were, and I also say hopefully it will be a good place for everyone to make their first step.
It would be. And to give a little more context, I think we got to work on the call to action sales script on that one. But all the work that we do in Chameleon Pathos and all the training we do for clients, it's more one-on-one and it's more small groups. But what we wanted to do is we wanted to start to take some of these resources and put them in a community, make them accessible to anyone who wants to have it. The Chameleon Club is free. Let's make that clear. What we are discussing, the thing that you will click the link in the description right now and it'll take you to is a free community. Just pop your name and your email in and you'll be in, and you will start to get access to these resources that we in the past have sold for decent amounts of money, but as we start to develop new things, we want to make some of these materials free to anyone who wants to use them. And it's part of our weekly meetings where Hoey starts to get mad at me for wanting to give stuff away because she's afraid clients might be mad, but it's okay because we are constantly developing new things, and we just have a surplus of resources, and we want to make them accessible to anyone who might be interested.
Yeah, and also I feel like the way we share our, I won't say it's our like strategy, but yeah, I would say that our strategy to all of our audience, which also actually will, because we're still learning on the way. So actually, I mean, everyone in the club can be the other one's teacher.
100%. That. Look, I mean, as far as the transparency of it is like, we want to give all these things to you, and we draw on our experiences, and because at the end of the day, we are probably further ahead than most, right? But we are still learning, and what we can gain from you, as far as us, the exchange that we are giving to each other is we want to learn from you and learn your experiences, because we only have so much time in this world and in this life that we can only experience so many things, that we want to hear your stories and your uncomfortable experiences, and hopefully if you employ this idea of spontaneity and just saying yes and wandering around and joining whatever intrigues you, we want to hear what those stories are. So if you do have those stories, please do hop in the club and share them with us, and just tell us what you learned and what you went through and all that jazz.
Yeah, and also even if you just want to share those really like stuck or suck or awkward moments, which is still like a great treasure for the community.
Yeah.
As long as you make your first step, you explore the new places, you figure out like you just trample the old you, which whatever things, I feel like it will be also a great contribution to the community, and also to everyone.
It would be. And so we will leave you all with that. We're going to wrap it up here because it is freezing, because we are in the shade. We have to go find a spot in the sun. But yes, if any of that sounds interesting or intriguing to you, please hop in. We will be happy to welcome you, and we will see you in there.
Yeah.
And we will see you in there, and we will also see you next time, where we're going to discuss something that we haven't decided on yet. We should start to plan ahead of time, so we know I could plug the next episode, but we'll get there. Maman lai. All right. Till next time.
Until next time.
Bye-bye.